Here's some mushroom and plants you can forage in winter.
Cleavers, aka goosegrass or sticky weed, is a great winter plant and it's fantastic for your lymphatic system.
Looking around here as well, we've also got some lovely ground ivy. Creeping Charlie grows along the ground like ivy grows up the tree. This one has a square stem and it actually belongs to the mint family. It has notes of sage and it's very good for your throat. You can use this one in teas, in cooking, or you can just use it to eat like a salad leaf. Pine needles are great this time of year. These little yellowing ones at the end, they're perfect, they're sweet, they're tender. You can use them in custards, in teas. And this is actually a Lebanese cedar tree. However, in the UK, we usually eat these pine spruces. Take the little yellow needles, and they're like a little fizzy treat or snack. Nice little cherry tree. But in the grass here, we've got these guys, which are amazing. Sorrel. It's closely related to dock leaves, but this contains oxalic acid, and it's really good for your stomach, but it's really tasty. This one tastes like lemons and sherbet, notes of apple. Use it as a salad leaf, make sorbets, or just use it to decorate dishes.
Swallowtail shaped leaves. Make sure not to confuse it for lords and ladies.
Here's an old tree, and it's well renowned for its fungi, so let's see what she's got. Great oyster mushrooms. Some of these are still looking great, some of them are past their best. Look at these guys. Pleurotus austriatus, the grey oysters. These ones are in perfect nick. As you can see, this little cluster. Gorgeous mushrooms. And you'd never find mushrooms this good in the supermarket. Oyster mushrooms always have a stem. These ones have a grey, sometimes blue kind of cap to them. This one's darker here, it's got that blue tinge to it. Delicious, just tear off shreds and cook them in butter. One of my favourite mushrooms to eat. They taste really meaty. They love growing on dead or dying hardwood logs, like old oaks or old beeches, which is what we have here. And they're a mushroom that loves to grow in winter. We've got a lovely amount of mushrooms there. That's going to be enough to cook enough for my whole family. The noble stinging nettle, it never lets us down. And these guys you can use like a spinach leaf. Make sure you cook them first. Boil them or bake them. Use the young tops. In the summer, once they've gone to seed or flower, they've got too much calcium. But this time of year, they've got perfect amounts of calcium for our skins, our bones and our teeth. Or you can just boil them and make a lovely tea. So you may just think this is grass. But here we've got the UK's native wild onion. This is crow garlic. It's like chives but got more of a garlicky flavour to it. Give it a haircut and then you can just use it like chives, or you can make it into pestos, into green oils, or just eat the leaves raw. Really nice garlicky flavour. Now they do have little onions on the bottom, but we're just giving it a haircut. In the wild, plants are protected, so we're not allowed to dig them up. And if we just keep cutting these, we're going to be able to come back for more. And it helps keep the vampires away. Woohoo! That was peppery and spicy. If you like garlic, you're going to love crow garlic. Here we have our most common parsley, cow parsley. It's got a very mild parsley flavour, more like chervil if you're into your cooking, but this is a really good example of why we recommend not actually picking this unless you really know what you're doing and unless you really want some cow parsley. Right next door, we've got another parsley, but this one is poisonous hemlock. And normally you'd look for a smooth red blotchy stem, but when these are young, they look almost identical to the cow parsleys. Distinguishable by the cross section, the smell, and alongside each other you can tell them apart, but certainly if you're picking parsley or wild carrot, you could certainly confuse these guys, and 10 leaves of these can be enough to kill someone. Used in Shakespeare, Harry Potter. The UK's deadliest plant. Here we've got some little dead nettles, which in Old English we call them dead nettles because they don't sting you, but essentially they're types of mint. They also have a square stem like all mints. You can use these in salads, eat them raw, put them into your teas. Now you might be forgiven for thinking these are ground ivy, creeping Charlie, which we've just picked. These are garlic mustard. They've got the same shaped leaves. kidney heart shape, sauce serrated edges, and they're actually a type of mustard, a type of brassica. They were the forefather of many of our cabbages, and you can identify this by the smell. Rub it in between your fingers and then give it a good whiff. Notes of garlic and mustard, and it's absolutely delicious. Use it as a salad leaf, use it in pestos, make garlic butter, or just eat it. These do have a nice sort of root on the bottom as well, which obviously in the wild we can't pick. If you have them in your garden or somewhere where you have landowner's permission, you can pick these little roots, and they taste like little horseradishes. Man, my breath is oniony, it's garlicky, it's mustardy. Now there's another wild onion that's actually invasive to the UK. It derives from the Mediterranean, Madeira. It's called the three-cornered leek, and actually I encourage you to eat this. We're still not going to dig it up, but you can eat the tops like a delicious green onion. Now again, it might just look like grass, but these are definitely three-cornered leeks, and they're abundant, and they seem to have colonised everywhere in the UK. The stems have three corners. They look like blades of grass, or you might confuse them for bluebells or snowdrops. They do get little white flowers, but you can take these tops and you can take as much as you want as an invasive plant. We're still going to leave the bulbs in the ground to adhere to the laws, but this is a wonderful onion that you can take as much of as you like. Sweet, oniony, tasty and nutritious. So I've used my scissors and taken a nice bunch. That's going to be a really nice aromat to go with those oyster mushrooms. Here's a great winter edible, the ribwort plantain. Grows out of a central spindle, has tongue-shaped leaves and these really prominent ribbed veins, which is where the name ribwort comes from. Wort denotes the use or the flavour. It's a ribbed leaf, and this is really good for your skin. Blend it with oil or coconut oil and rub it on your skin, and it's got everything your skin needs. It's great for eczema, psoriasis. I rub it on my tattoos, and we can add it to our salad leaf bowl as well. It's really good for your stomach, or just chuck it in your bath and your skin will really thank you. I don't like eating this one, it's too stringy. Of course, if you didn't know, we could eat dandelions. They're a great antioxidant. They're great for your bladder, great for digestion. And when you get the flowers, you can use those to make a homemade saffron. You can make a vegan honey, or just eat the leaves. They can be a little bit bitter, but mix them in with your nice sorrel leaves, your plantains, and you've got yourself a wonderful salad. And I know what you're thinking and what I'm thinking. It's a bit dirty, this one, and definitely looks like it might have been weed on. So I'm going to leave this one for the slugs. Here's one that you can make use of in the winter, and it's growing out of the wall. It's a weed, but it's called ivy leaf toad flax. Very perfumey flavour, so I use it as a dainty little garnish. When I teach this to children, we say it looks like a toad on a lily pad. The name is ivy leaf toad flax. Really good for your blood circulation. I'm diabetic and I need all the help I can get with my circulation. So remember when you're picking your pine needles to rule out the deadly yew needles. And here's a good example. Yew needles are soft, so when you're picking your pine needles, make sure they prickle you like a needle. Crocuses are coming, guys. We'll be doing some vids on the crocuses soon. Make your own saffron. Raw mouse stamps are great to forage this time of year. What have we got here? We've got 2 first-class stamps with Prince Charles's head on. Ain't just plants you can forage, guys. Now I've got 2 free letters to send. Healthy looking basket there. So foraging is actually paying me today. I mean, what's the price of a first-class stamp these days? £1? That's £2 I've done foraging my dinner. Well, what do we have here? This is wild radish. Specifically, black mustard, Brassica nigra. And you can eat these leaves as your salad leaves, got a mild mustardy flavour. Has a big tongue at the top with interlocking ladder steps. And this is another one of our original 5 brassicas that were the mother to all brassica plants. All of these green guys are Alexanders, imported by the Romans, and now no one eats them, but the Romans used them like celery, used the leaves like lovage. In springtime we get flowers which are really spicy, 3-pronged serrated leaves. Quite strong flavour. Now the Romans called it Smyrnium olisatrum. Smyrnium olisatrum means the black herb that tastes like myrrh. So these leaves have a mild taste of myrrh and they produce black seeds which you can use like a Szechuan peppercorn. Remember again, when you're picking your parsley, to watch out for those poisonous ones. We've seen poisonous hemlock. You also want to watch out for water dropwort, which can be confused for these guys, but it shouldn't grow in sets of 3s. It should have leaves that travel all the way down the stem. It looks more like a celery. Remember to do your own research to rule out those poisonous lookalikes, and never eat anything you're not 100% sure what it is. Whoa! Look at these guys. These look definitely past their best. Let's see what we got here. These are old clouded agarics. They've been eaten by the creepy crawlies. This looks like a good spot for fungi. These are edible to 4 in 5 of us. 20% of us are intolerant. Here's one that some of you might be familiar with, the jelly deer. Here's some little babies growing underneath, and it looks like an ear. It's a jelly fungi, Auricularia judea. The Japanese wood ear. It's used a lot in Japanese or Asian cuisine. Served as a little mushroom gummy on top of your dishes. Beautiful. Looks like an ear. There's nothing poisonous you can confuse that for. Gorgeous little Ganoderma here. Ganoderma applanatum. This one's actually artist bracket. When it's fresh, you can draw on it. I'm going to take this guy and soak it in booze. You can make a tincture that's really good for your immune system. It has rings or conchs on the top, belted brown pieces, and normally a white underneath that goes grey with age. And you can draw on the top. And I filmed this whole winter foraging scene in the space of 1.5 hours. So that just shows how much edible food there is still around in winter. We're in Stammer Park, Brighton. Here's some more gorgeous jelly ears. The ear of the mushroom world. Little cuties there. Literally looks like an ear. Use that slug to eat the other one. Now you can just steam these in a steamer basket, cook them in your ramen bowls. You can stir fry them. Don't fry them in oil. They will jump out the pan due to these little pockets of air and water. You can dry them out and soak them in liquids such as orange juice or booze and dip them in chocolate. A lovely little chocolate truffle. They normally grow on elder trees, although they seem to have transferred to another type of log here. Mushrooms do evolve. Mushrooms have intelligence. Here we've got the noble turkey's tail. Lovely specimens. Rings of brown with one white ring around the outside. You should always see at least 2 or 3 shades. Sometimes you'll see colours. And importantly, the underneath has really tiny white pores or white tubes. Really good for your immune system. Make them into stocks, make them into teas, make them into powders and put them in your food. Got a really sweet mushroomy flavour. And then just here, you've got another great edible. But you do need to take some precautions with these guys. These are velvet shanks. They have a brown velvety stem, white to cream gills. They're really sticky on the underneath. They stick to your face. Now when identifying these, you need to be careful. You can see these ones aren't so velvety on the stem, hence the name of the velvet shank. We want to watch out for the funeral bell, which will tend to have a skirt membrane, but not always. The funeral bell is normally more domed and it won't produce white spores. These are false turkey tails. As the name suggests, can be confused for turkey tails. They tend to just have oranges and yellows running through them, and the underneath, I used to call it the yellow curtain crust. That's what I was taught. And these guys don't have those tiny white pores. They look like a pair of old yellow curtains. The false turkey tail, or the sterium. These are hogweed leaves. Careful of your giant hogweed. You always want a hairy green stem. These aren't quite green. I'm experienced enough to know these are common hogweed, but be careful. If you're unsure, please don't pick it because you will get burnt. These are hogweed shoots and they're absolutely delicious. The leaves are just starting to unfurl. Tossed in some butter. Make sure they're cooked and you taste like a wild roasted parsnip. Whoop. There's so much you can forage in winter. Join us soon and we'll be looking at early spring forageables.